All right, so we're gonna now move into slicing. So it's another common sequence operation. Okay. So in practical also, slicing is a possible scenario, right? So we want a piece of from a existing sequence, right? We want a piece of existing string. So that Python support a certain way of extracting slice a piece from an existing sequence. Okay, so in this slide we're going to learn about one way of slicing. So we use this, we call this slicing operator. Okay, so don't get confused with the indexing operator. We use the same symbol, but you notice inside we have this colon, that is to indicate it's a slicing operator. So this whole thing is a slicing operator. It's not indexing operator. Okay. So I represent the start value of the slice, J represent the end value of the slice. Okay. So if this is what we are running, then it's going to return a slice of this sequence from I to J minus 1. Okay. So 1 less than J. Okay. As a new sequence. Okay. So we are not going to slice up the original one. We're going to get as a new sequence the result. Okay. So let's continue. So if we omit I, okay, I default to 0. Or if we put none in place of I, that also default to 0. Okay, so we get, so it's a slices like this, and we get a slice from 0 to J minus 1. So let's check this out one by one. So I'm going to pick my sequence as a list. I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's my original sequence. So I'm going to get a slice. So S2 equals S. Let's say my I is like 2 and well 1 and let's say 3. Okay. So let's print out S2. Okay. Run this again. So I get 2 and 3. Okay. So again, I is 1. So this is the index. These are indexes 0. Index 1 is 2. Right. Starting from index 1 to index 3. So it's 1, 2, 3. So it's 1 less than the j here, 3. So that means I get 2 and 3. So I get 2 and 3 slice. Okay. All right. So and if we omit, so let's now omit the I. Okay. So it default to 0. So I'm expecting 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay. So I got 1, 2, 3. So if we first move on, if we omit J, or if we put none, okay, then J become length of the sequence. Okay. So basically, let me just copy this again. Okay. So now I'm going to make J. So I'm going to put like 1 over here, and I'm going to omit J and print S2. So it's basically, it should go all the way up to the end. So I'm expecting 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right. So I got 2, 3, 4. It's the same if we try none instead of the in place of J value, none. I'm expecting the same result. Okay. All right. 2, 3, 4. So let's continue. And slicing is forgiving. Okay. So Python designers thought instead of returning an error, let's try what we can do. So Python will always try what it can do to return something. Like for example, it is better to return an error because when you return an error, the program crashes. And if it is an important piece of code, and now it is crashed, and it could be a flight controller, it could be equipment controller in an ICU bed, could be many things. So, and when the program crashes, the equipment doesn't work, so which is not good. So instead of returning errors, you can do something else, and then if there's nothing to do, then why not returning empty sequence? And that's what Python's designers thought. So in regards to that, so if the j is more than the length, and then j default to length actually. Okay. So basically, well, someone is looking for a slice beyond the length of the sequence, which is not possible. So why don't we could do whatever best suitable, which is go all the way up to the length, right? So that's also work that way. Okay. And then if I goes beyond j, so which is not possible, right? So the start value now beyond the j, the end value, which doesn't make any sense. So in that case, well, there's nothing Python can return, so it returns empty sequence. Okay. All right. So let's check this out. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, let's say like 20 over here. Okay. So obviously it's higher than the length of the sequence we have. Okay. So I'm expecting same 2, 3, 4 because Python only went to the length and then did return the slice. Okay. And if we try a higher I value, okay, so like let's say 20 over here and then 3 over here, okay, I'll get empty result. Okay. So I got empty list in this case. Okay. So let's continue. So excuse me. If I and j less than 0, okay, in this case basically the values, two values are negative now. So the new I values will be generated like this. Notice this I is the original I and j value, which are negative numbers now. So we add the length to that, and then we get the new I value in terms of as a positive one. Okay. So basically, so let's try to get this one now. So I'm gonna try, let's say -2 index to, let's say, well, -1, let's say -3 to -1. Okay, those are my negative value. Two are negative values I and j. So this is actually equivalent to, according to this rule, I become length plus I. So length of this sequence is 4, right? We have 4 elements. So 4, so S 4 plus, okay, length plus I. So 4 minus 3, that is basically 1. Okay, so it's I value, new I value is 1. based on this formula. Based on this formula, new j value would be 2. Okay, so excuse me, 3, right? So it's 4 here, and -1 plus -1 is 3. So I'm expecting 1 to 3 slice. Okay, so let's see if that is the case. Okay, so we can actually check. Yeah, so let's print that out. Okay, so we got 2 and 3. Okay, so let me just I'm gonna remove this, just put it like a comment. Okay, so and it's 2 and 3. Okay, and if we put separately this, I will see that it's the same. Okay, all right, so 2 and 3, 2 and 3. Okay, all right, let's move on. So if we put -0, it's still 0. Okay, so there's more to slicing. Okay, there's more versatile way of slicing, which we have a step parameter k. Okay, so this is the step parameter. In fact, this is the most general syntax for slicing. Okay, so this is the most general syntax for slicing. So instead of not only I and j, we have k step parameter as well. So not only now we can take a slice, but we can also take a slice with the step value. Now we can skip some in between and get a slice as well. So this is how it forms. Okay, so it's again from I to j minus 1 with k steps. Okay, and return as a new sequence. Okay, so the indices that slicing would pick would be I plus k, I plus k, I plus 2k, and I plus 3k. Okay, the indices value. Okay, so that's the pattern. All right, let's continue. Okay, so same rules applies with the previous slicing. So I default to 0, or if it is none, or empty, right? So if it is none or empty, I default to 0, and it become like this. So notice we have empty space for I. Okay, and slice is basically we're gonna go 0 to j minus k in k steps. Okay, all right, so j default to length if j is none or empty. Okay, so this is, notice there's nothing in between the two colon marks, so that means j is empty. Oh, now it default to 0, sorry, length, right? So the slice is in now I to length s minus 1 in k step. Okay, all right, all right, so let's continue. Okay, if k is greater than 0, okay, all right, and I and j equals to length. Okay, if I or j greater than length s. Okay, so if I or j is greater than length of s, then both I and j become equals to length of s if k greater than 0. Okay, and if I and j less than 0, okay, and this is the formula that we have to use in generating new I and j values, that similar to the previous slide. Okay, right, if k is 0, then the same formula, but now I and j become length minus 1, and if I or j is greater than s. Okay, So, all right. So if k less than 0, okay, and if I and j greater than length, I and j become this value according to this formula. Okay. All right. So if k is none or empty, then k is default to value 1. So that means it never gets 0. Okay. So k never gets 0. Okay. So if I and j missing or none, okay, I and j take n values. Okay. And k cannot be 0. And if k is 0, then we'll get a value error. Okay. All right. So let's check some of these. We can, so let's go to, let's create the same list. Okay. So I'm going to create, let's say, up to 4 and in steps of 2. Okay. We can put more values. Okay. 5 and 6. Okay. So I'm expecting I'm going to start from value. So this is my I1. So this is the index 1. So we are going to skip. So k is 2, so skip 1, right? So skip by 2. That means next value is this. Next value is this. Okay. So let's see what we get. Okay. All right. So I got, oh, I didn't print it. So let's print it. Okay. So we got 2 and 4. Okay. 2, we skip 1 because k is 2, and then 4. And it's j is 4, so it goes 1 less than that, right? So here is the fourth value. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is 4. So this is j fourth value. Okay, so we go 1 less than, right? So that means we can only take 2 and 4 values as the slice. Okay. All right. So what if we put, see, s, now the default values. So let's put default values of I. So I'm going to omit I and print it again. I get 1 and 3. Okay. So when I omit I, so default get the 0 value. That means including 1, and we go all the way up to j fourth in skipping 2. So it's 1 and 2. Okay. So when we try to skip the next one, it's going to be this one, but it's exclusive, right? So we're not going to include that value. So that's why I get 1 and 3. Okay. All right. So what will happen if I put j empty? So this is 1 again, and j empty now. Okay. And I get this value. Okay. 2, 4, 6. So now we go, j is default to length of the sequence. In this case 6. So we all the way go up to that value skipping 2, right? So we start from 1. So this is the start, and skip 1. So next value is 4. Skip 1. The next value is 6. So we got 6. Okay. All right. So the next, so let's put, we can also try to put none as well. Okay. So if we put none over here, it will be the same result. Okay. So we got 1 and 3. Okay. Similar to what we got here. Okay. We can try now with negative step values. Okay. So let's put s2 equals, let's first try negative j and I and j values. Okay, so I'm going to put -1, 4, let's put 5, and oh, minus, I'll put -5 over here, and -2 over here, and 2. See what we get. Okay, so we got 2 and 4. Okay, so we can put the values over here. This equals to, okay, so I become, so length is 6 minus 5, that is I, right? So, and then j equals, so length plus previous j, which is -2, that is 4. So this is actually equal to the slice of S. So I is equal to 5, let's see, sorry, 1, and j is equal to 4, and k equals to 2. Okay, so we'll print both together. Okay, so I simply use that formula. Okay, so okay, I copied the wrong thing. So yep, all right, so right here, so see, I got same values, right? 2, 4, and 2, 4. Okay, all right. So if I and j missing or none, they take end values. Okay, so if I is missing, it's 0. J is missing, it's length. Okay, so, and if we try to put 0, okay, so let's put like this, and put, let me omit k like this, and we get the entire sequence, possible sequence 2, 3, 4. But if I put 0, 4, okay, I get a value error. Okay, that's the value error. Okay, all right, block this now. Okay, so let's move on with the same common operations. Okay, minimum, you can get the minimum of the minimum value of the sequence. Okay, so smallest value will be returned. So let's check on that as well. So I'm going to get, okay, so I'm gonna get same list, and let's return print min s. Okay, so I'm expecting 1 to be returned. Okay, all right, so we got 1, so you can put both together, min max. Okay, x. Okay, so 1 and 5 my expectation, 1 and 6, sorry. Okay, so I got 1 and 6. Okay, so that's max, largest item. Okay, all right, and index, this is a method available to all the sequences, the index method. So basically it returns the first index of the first occurrence of the sequence of the thing that we pass. You can also pass a range of to check as well, range of indexes to check as well. Okay, So if we don't pass that, so we're gonna Python going to check entire sequence for the value x and pick the first occurrence of the index and return that index. And if we pass the range to check, then Python go to the respective range and then search for the x. Okay. So, and in both forms, if Python can find the value error gonna get returned. Okay. So let's check on that. So let's print s dot index. Okay, and index, let's find out whether we have 4. Okay, so I'm expecting this the 0th index to 1, 2, 3. So I'm expecting 3 over here. Index, I got 3. Okay, and if I put a range, in this case, let's say 1 and 5, okay, indexes, I still get the same index. Okay, same value 3. Okay, so I got the same value 3. Now I am, instead of asking search the entire sequence, I ask Python to search between 2 and 5. Okay, so in this range, so it is in there in this range. So I got 4. Okay, I got 3, the index value. Okay, and if I ask something that is not in the sequence, let's say like 10, and I get a value error. Okay, so I got that value error. Okay, so value error 10 is not in list. Okay, so block that now. And count. Okay, so the next, actually it's the last of the common sequence operation is the count, which basically return the count of things that we pass into the count method. Okay, so it's a method available to all the sequences. Okay, so let's print. All right, so we can, I'm going to get the same list and I'm going to put few more stuff in there. Okay, I'm going to put 4, 3, 2 more 4s. Okay, and I'm going to count. Count 4. So I'm expecting the count 1, 2, 3. Okay, all right, I got the number 3. Okay, so that's count. So that's all. So these are the all common sequence operations in Python.